1950 was the year that changed everything for my family. Until that time, my grandmother and grandfather, I think they were living a happy life. They grew up in the independent Estonia. My grandfather was a university professor of economics. They survived through the Second World War. They survived through 2 deportations by the Soviets. So by 1950, I think life was more or less back on track under the Soviet occupation, under the communist regime, but still trying to build a family and a life. My mother at the time was 8 years old, and her brother, my uncle, was just about 2. But then one day, a student at the university complained and said that my grandfather failed him on the exam because he was a young communist. And at the time, that was enough to get you arrested. So in February 1950, KGB came and arrested my grandfather. They also took my grandmother to interrogations at the basement of the KGB house, usually at night, over and over again. And my mother once told me how she, as a small child, together with her baby brother, that they were beating their legs, or she was beating her legs against the couch and looking out of the window all night long, singing to her brother, thinking whether her mother ever comes back alive home again. He was taken and sent to Inta, to a gulag camp in Siberia. And she had to find a job. Before that, she was at home raising the children. So she tried to get a job, but was refused again and again as a wife of an enemy of the people. And she wrote many letters to him at the prison camp, which, as we found out later, none of them were actually delivered. Then she really had a choice either to starve or to get a job. But in order to get a job, she had to divorce my grandfather. So she wrote a long letter explaining, saying that I have to do it, but I still love you, dear Alfred. But he never got the letter. Instead, he got the divorce papers and was just told that, look, even your wife doesn't want you anymore. So my grandmother got a job assembling cardboard boxes and made a living, raised the children. My grandfather found a new wife at the nearby women's camp. They got married, they had a son, and then when he got released and came back to Estonia, they both, my grandmother and grandfather, learned of what had happened. And I was not born yet, but my uncle told me how he remembers his father crying at their kitchen table. But that was it. You couldn't turn back the time anymore. And life went on. My grandfather died when I was 12 years old. I never met him. We lived in the same city, didn't even go to the funeral. My uncle said that we were actually lucky ones, because most people's parents didn't come back from Siberia.